All right, so here we are on day 3, and we're going to be doing our overhead presses. So I'm going to demonstrate that here in a second. What we're doing is not a strict press. All right, a strict press is where you really lock in and things like that. It's very much more of a, I don't want to call it an isolation move because you are doing compound movements. But with the push press, the overhead push press that we're going to be doing, we're using our legs a little bit more. We're getting a little bit more full body power from this. So it does allow you to be able to get a little bit more weight than you would if you were to just stand and do a strict press. So I'll demonstrate the difference here in a second. But ultimately what you want to make sure that you're doing is that as you're pressing up, right, you want to think that press up, all right, don't lock, but pressing up, all right? And if you look at from the side, press, and you want to think, put your head through the window, right? Don't force it or strain it, but this helps you get your shoulders back and recruits that upper back area a little bit more for you. All right. When you're finding your grip, so you want to think about your bench press grip and then just go in a little bit more. I like it to be around shoulder width, maybe a little bit wider, as you can see here. My thumbs are kind of evened up with my shoulders. As I bring that up, notice here I kind of got it like a W shape to my arms. All right, if we're doing a strict press, we're pressing up and nothing else is moving, just the arms. All right, 65 pounds here is what I'm doing, and that feels a little bit more strenuous than if I do the push press. All right. So using that momentum of pressing through the floor to get all of that. All right, and then make sure when you're starting and ending, you're up high. Don't try to jerk it up. That's just adding more tension than you really need to. Start high, re-rack, walk forward, and then walk it back. You can do it the opposite way, where you re-rack and step back and forward. Find the way that's easier for you. Just make sure you're not adding any more challenges than you need to. All right, on to the next one. All right, next up, lat pull down. Okay, we're gonna use the standard lat pull down bar. Okay, what you want to remember is that you're pulling into the front, right across the top of your chest here, okay? And get a little bit of an arc in your back so that you get those lats. The key thing is to pull the elbows into the sides. You want to make sure you're getting your lats, okay, as you're pulling down. And hold it for a second or two. Really get that squeeze in there, all right? So this is kind of like mimicking a pull-up. You got the cable here, so you got a little bit more leverage, but we're going to be pulling that into the top of the chest. All right, so as I'm here, right, I'm up, and I'm pulling my shoulder blades down and back because I want to make sure that I'm not up here, and I want to make sure I'm getting the lats really engaged here. So as I pull, I'm pulling to the top of the chest, give it a little squeeze. Elbows coming into the sides, arms are coming back. All right. Feel that squeeze in there. Now you don't have to touch the bar to your chest. Go as far as you feel comfortable. Pulling too much can strain the front of the shoulders a little bit, but we don't want to do that. We're doing basically an opposite movement of the overhead press, so we're trying to get the lats a little bit more engaged here. All right, and that's your lat pull down. Again, pulling into the top of the chest, little arc in the back, trying to keep the lower body nice and stable. You can use the pad that they have on the machines. Obviously, I don't have that here. That will help you get a little bit heavier. If you can manage to anchor yourself down, you get a little core work like what I was doing here. All right, on to the next one. All right, exercise number 3 is a single arm lateral raise. All right, so we're bringing the arm out to the side, okay? So you can try to do it this way, standing up straight. We want to make this two things. One, a little bit easier, and two, we want to take out the rotator cuff and get lots more into the delt, okay? So yes, this is an isolation move for the delt, but having the delts all over strong, which is what a lateral raise is going to do, is going to ultimately strengthen that overhead press. That's why we're adding it in here. So I'm going to grab my dumbbell, and I'm going to grab onto the side of the rack here, all right? And I'm going to tilt. I'm not tilting to the point where I'm holding on for dear life, but I'm tilting to the point where I know I'm farther away. I definitely am at that angle. Don't want the hips to sag or shift to one side. Standing up nice and straight, and you're basically just tipping, okay? Now I got my weight here hanging at the side, and I'm gonna bring it up. All right, we're holding here. What do you want to do is make sure you're trying to get up parallel. Now, I'm not gonna do this because this weight's a little on the heavier side than I thought it was gonna be, but I don't want to turn to the side. I'll do it in a second. But I'm getting my shoulder blade involved too. All right, so if you look at this from the back way, right? So I'm doing this here, and my shoulder blade's moving along with everything. Notice here, my elbow's bent. I don't have a totally locked out arm. This again takes some pressure off that. So if I rest the dumbbell, it's here on the side front of my thigh. And then as I'm going out, my arm is staying in front. This really gets more into the delt here, all right? And it helps that shoulder blade up. If I go straight out and all the way back, I'm really putting a lot of pressure on that back end, backside of my shoulder, and the supination here of the rotator cuff. Supraspinatus of the rotator cuff. Don't tell anybody I said that. And that you don't want to do, all right? So this is a total isolation move, all right? And then we're going to do it on the other side. This way you can see how the back gets a little bit more involved. Notice how the shoulder's bent, or excuse me, the elbow's bent. And that's that, all right? Make sure you're not overdoing it. You're not bringing it all the way up to the height here. If I do this at an angle, if I'm mocking my angle here, and I bring this up, notice how I'm a little bit above parallel. All right, so you get up a little bit higher, gets a little bit more in the delt without doing too much damage to the rotator cuff, so long as I got that flexion and stability in the shoulder, or in the arm, the elbow, and in the shoulder blades. So make sure you're stable through there. Don't ego lift it. All right, we're not trying to pull away. We're just going straight up to the side. We're going to be doing a plank. And I'm going to give you the option of doing a high plank or a low plank, okay? Excuse me. High plank, arms are straight. This is going to put a lot of tension on the shoulders. We just did shoulders, all right? So if you want to get that extra stability in the shoulders, go for it, all right? It might be a little bit more challenging. You're gonna feel it a lot more, that's for sure. But it will ultimately still help you, and you'll still feel in the core. But ultimately what I'd like you to do is a low plank. Low plank, we're gonna be down on the elbows. All right, this gives a lot more shoulder stability through the shoulder blades. So you'll notice how they're more engaged as I'm doing this. And I'm gonna show you what a plank should look like from the front and from the side, so that you get an idea of it. This way you're not watching me do a plank for a minute, okay? So, coming down, get your arms adjusted. I like bringing my hands together. You can keep your hands folded, whatever it is. But we're going to be here. Shoulders down and back. Squeeze the glutes, core engaged. Hold in a nice steady position here. We're not like this. We're not like this. We're up in the tabletop. Somebody should be able to put something on my back and it shouldn't move. All right? If we look at that from the side, again, down on the elbows. Hey, come on. And again, tabletop, right? You can totally lay something on my back. Maybe a bulldog. And you'll be able to hold that position there, okay? All right. That is it for day number 4. Let me know if you have any questions. Get after it. Make sure you do, before we go, make sure you do the shoulder primer so that we don't have any injuries with the shoulders. Get them nice, loose, and warm before you do this exercise grouping. All right? All right. Have a good one. Until we meet again.